Alrighty, it is 8 o'clock, so let's get rolling here. So hello everyone, happy Wednesday. For those of you in the US, I hope that you had a great Thanksgiving holiday, and I look forward to catching up with everyone. In case you missed the announcement, due to the holiday, I wasn't doing specific proactive check-ins over the past weekend. Like I said, I did make an announcement about that, but if you had emailed me, I did respond to you with the same response time that you're used to. And I will do the same thing over the Christmas holiday as well. There'll be another announcement to go with that, and we can discuss as we get a little bit further. But like I said, this weekend I'll be kind of catching up with everyone and seeing how everyone's doing. I just have two topics that I want to cover this evening, so let's get to it. So the first is actually a question. I was recently asked a question from Kay regarding core strength and abdominal exercises. So Kay had asked, how do I get rid of extra belly fat? Do you think that crunches and sit-ups will help? So this is a great question, mainly because the mainstream fitness industry seems to still perpetuate the myth of spot reduction, where doing crunches and sit-ups actually will help you get rid of belly fat, and that's really not true. The truth is that doing exercises specifically to burn fat in specific areas really doesn't work. And that can actually go against your specific goals, at least this is at the start, and I'll elaborate on that. So in general, as we know, exercise is only a small part of that. And because of that, I don't recommend crunches or sit-ups at all to anyone, unless you specifically need them for a reason, such as a physical fitness test for military, police, firefighters, etc. Or if there's a contest or something you want to win based on who can do the most sit-ups. There are other and better ways to get a stronger core, but a stronger core doesn't really help you reduce body fat. If you strengthen your core, but you don't lose fat by your nutrition, your belly could actually look bigger, because then you have muscle sitting underneath with the fat on top of it, so it actually looks bigger. I recommend that everyone have a stronger core in general. It helps with things like back pain and just is useful for everyday life. So if you do want to strengthen your core, I would recommend exercises like planks, ab wheel rollouts, and something called a stir the pot. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds, where you're making a movement like this, where you're stirring a pot, but you're using your core to do it. This is likely the only time you'd see me recommend you use a Bosu ball, because there's a version of stir the pot that can easily be done on a Bosu ball. And you can also do it with a lat pull down, cable pull down type of machine. There are a couple of different ways to do it. So that's pretty much the only use, in my opinion, right now for a Bosu ball, unless you're sitting on it like Dwight from The Office, which is acceptable in my opinion. So, all right, believe that covers that topic. If you would like me to elaborate on anything about that, please let me know. Or if you want to specifically include some core strengthening work, please talk to me, let me know, and we'll go from there, and we'll try to incorporate that into your program. All right, so this next thing is a topic, not a question, and it's something that related to something that I've talked about recently, that part of going through the process of a mental and physical transformation was the true acceptance of the fact that some things are simply not fair, and that's just the way they are. So one of the things that I said wasn't fair was something that I struggled with for most of my teens and 20s, and that was that other people could eat way more than I could while not seeming to get any more exercise than I did, and they were not overweight, while I seemed to continue to gain weight every year. I had a friend in high school that was about the same height as me. He ate similarly as I did. He basically did no physical activity, so I'd say he had less physical activity than I did, and he even probably sat around more and played more video games than I did. Yet he was pretty much almost underweight, while I continued to be overweight, and it got worse, like I said. So the primary difference between us was likely the same factor that we see anytime there are others that appear to be able to eat more than us without becoming overweight. Not including things like the fact that they do exercise more, and their habits outside of that one occasion where we're seeing them eating are different than ours. Outside of those, that difference is called NEAT, which stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And that's a really fancy way of just saying any activity you do that's not sleeping or eating or sports like exercise. So moving around in general. Some examples are like tapping your feet, fidgeting, standing instead of sitting, you know, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, parking farther away, getting up and going for a walk on your break, you know, walking a little bit farther to get some coffee, things like that that are not exercise per se, but are activity that you move around some. So how you respond to eating both more calories and fewer calories than what your maintenance calorie needs are, this is what differs from person to person. And using myself as an example here, when I overeat, and this is even now, when I was 400 pounds and even now, when I overeat beyond what I need to maintain my weight, like on Thanksgiving, for example, I want to curl up in a ball and go to sleep. When I undereat, I have drastically less energy, so I also want to curl up into a ball and fall asleep. As a result, when I overeat, I don't want to move. When I undereat, I don't have the energy to move as much as I would when I'm eating right at my maintenance level. So I you know, maybe we'll park closer, and I'll take the elevator instead of the stairs subconsciously. Those are kind of behaviors that kind of creep in. So for me, there is a very tiny window around my maintenance calories where I feel energetic, and the only problem is sometimes weight loss is a little bit slower than we like in that window, meaning if my maintenance calories are 2,500, you know, I can eat 2,800 and I'll be okay. But if I start going over 3,000, it just makes me lethargic. If I go under 2,000, I basically have no energy and just want to lay around all day. So it's a very tiny window with which I have to work with. And that's, like I said, it's one of those things you kind of just have to accept. So the opposite example of someone like me would be my friend from earlier, or even my kids, because I see this in them every day, thankfully. So when they overeat, they bounce around, they can't sit still, they're constantly tapping their feet and their arms, they're moving around like they're dancing. I constantly have to say, do you have ants in your pants? When they're hungry, they also seem to get up and move around to get their mind off of being hungry, to distract themselves. When I'm hungry, I sit there and, you know, I don't try to do this, but my go-to subconscious response is when I'm hungry, I sit there and think about it and try to figure out how I'm going to eat. I don't try to distract myself. So these are some of the differences in people that respond differently to different calorie ranges. And, you know, for me, my subconscious behaviors are the ones I have to try to subvert to get around that unfair fact of life. So these are actually differences in metabolism. And those who slow down due to changes in calories are said to have thrifty metabolisms, while those who will burn off the extra energy while taking in even less would said to be spendthrift metabolisms. So this is why weight loss is easier for some and more difficult for others. I'm not mentioning this to discourage you, but there are some differences between people that are beyond our control, and those have to be taken into consideration and accepted before we can move beyond them, as well as incorporate those differences into our choices and plans in life. So for me, the biggest boon was getting a Fitbit to see how much I'm moving or not moving. So simply being made aware of my behavior that's usually subconscious allows me to focus on changing that behavior. I'm not recommending that everyone go and spend money on a Fitbit, but simply having something that counts your steps was helpful to me. So some examples are Saturdays, I'm usually really busy on the computer, you know, going through updates, answering emails, writing, that type of stuff. So there are days where I'll sit at the computer on a Saturday from 7 a.m. to dinner time, and I'll probably hit 2,500 steps that day. And that's just not going to fly with, you know, me trying to maintain my weight loss or even continue forward and lose a little bit more. So when I can see that low number of a day, I'm more likely to get up and take breaks and go for a walk, or just go outside and clear my head and walk around, or even do more things while standing up and try to consciously make myself fidget just to get some more movement in. And the end result of that is that I feel better as a result. So all that sitting and not moving, while my brain is active the entire time, my body doesn't feel great, and my body's not active during that long period of the time. And that's primarily one of the reasons why I'm standing and doing this hangout right now, is that I've already been sitting. I mean, I worked out today, but I've already been sitting since 6:30 a.m. And if I had to sit again right now, when it's, within an hour of my bedtime, I'd probably be half asleep right now. So that's, again, the Fitbit there is kind of just keeping me aware of a behavior that I have subconsciously, and it's helping me to consciously change that behavior. All right, that actually covers everything that I wanted to cover this evening. I'm going to switch around and see if there have any questions been asked right now. But next week, I have one topic in mind, and it's how to deal with the weight loss plateau. If you have any other questions, please ask them in response to the Hangout announcement that I'll put up on Sunday morning. And let's see. All right. I'm not seeing any questions at this time, but like I said, if you do have any questions, please respond to the Hangout announcement with your question, and I'll get to it. And we will be discussing weight loss plateaus next week going forward. And other than that, everyone have a great week, and I'll be talking to you soon. Take care.